تصویب قطعنامه محکومیت سرکوب معترضان و فراخوان به ریسک‌گذاری تروریستی سپاه پاسداران به اتفاق آرای نمایندگان و سخنگویان تمامی احزاب انگلستان.
قطعنامه. پارلمان اقدامات رژیم ایران در سرکوب اعتراضات را بیچون و چرا محکوم می کند. از رفتار خشونت‌آمیز آن در رابطه با این اعتراضات ابراز انزجار می کند. به شدت نگران گزارش‌های مربوط به اقدامات تهدیدآمیز علیه سازمان‌ها و ارگان‌ها در انگلستان است که از حقوق معترضان در ایران حمایت می کنند. پارلمان از دولت انگلستان می خواهد که سپاه پاسداران را در لیست سازمان‌های تروریستی ممنوعه قرار دهد. پارلمان از دولت انگلستان می خواهد که با همتایان بین‌المللی برای اطمینان از اعمال تحریم‌های بیشتر علیه رژیم ایران بدون تأخیر کار کند.
سخنرانی‌های دیوید جونز، متیو آفورد، آنا فیرس، جیم شانون، جان مکدانل و لئو داداچاری، معاون پارلمانی وزارت خارجه انگلستان.
Huge waves of anti-government protests right across the country. By the 28th of December, it was calculated that the spread to over 280 towns and cities across Iran in all 31 provinces of the country. People have taken to the streets, many of them chanting anti-government slogans, which in itself is also remarkable, given the regime's notorious sensitivity to even the mildest criticism. The United Kingdom should continue to lead the Western response, helping to bring forward more concrete measures to deny the regime the ability to continue its repression and to help the people of Iran to realize their democratic aspirations. The UN, as a permanent member of the Security Council, should lead the pressure for recognition of the rights of the Iranian people to defend themselves by any legitimate means available, given that the authorities have effectively declared war on their own population. As other honourable members, it is surely now time for the government to proscribe the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, in its entirety. The IRGC is the regime's principal means of exerting control and repression of the Iranian people. And furthermore, it is one of the world's foremost exporters of terror.
In Ukraine. But Iran continues with aggressive tactics, including a cyber attack on this very parliament. Iran attempted the same on public services in Albania during an opposition rally. Iran has also supported military actions in Yemen and Syria. It's destabilized the political process in Lebanon and Gaza through its active support of Hezbollah. And of course, a serving Iranian ambassador coordinated and supplied explosives that could have killed hundreds of elected politicians in Paris in 2018. But Iran continues with aggressive tactics, including a cyber attack on this very parliament. Iran attempted the same on public services in Albania during an opposition rally. Iran has also supported military actions in Yemen and Syria. It's destabilized the political process in Lebanon and Gaza through its active support of Hezbollah. And of course, a serving Iranian ambassador coordinated and supplied explosives that could have killed hundreds of elected politicians in Paris in 2018. I want to see the termination of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action in its entirety. I want to see the invoking of the snapback sanction mechanisms under the UN Security Council Resolution 2231. I want to see a closure of all Iranian-funded Islamic centres across the United Kingdom. I want to see the recalling of the British ambassador from Iran. I want to see the expelling of Iranian ambassador and all diplomats from the United Kingdom, and the freezing of all assets of the Islamic regime officials and their families.
But it is horrifying how that country has gone back, in 40 years it's gone back 400. The misery and pain that has been inflicted on these people, turning it into a medieval country, is simply horrifying. And when that regime does change, I hope that the tenets set out in the 10-point plan of Mrs. Maryam Rajavi, the President-elect of the National Council of the Resistance of Iran, the NCRI, are looked at and embodied, because those points call for nothing more than complete gender equality. Gender equality in the realms of political, social, cultural and economic rights, and equal participation for women in political leadership. Seen is sanctioned the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC. Quite rightly, since its creation in 1979, the IRGC has been actively pressing dissidents inside Iran and spreading terrorism abroad. We've heard that the IRGC funds and supports terrorist groups such as Hezbollah in Lebanon and many other regional proxy groups.
If there was a free vote in Iran, this lot would be swept away. But there isn't a free vote. And Iran is governed by people with guns and secret police who terrify the people, terrify everyone. And if we were there, we may well be terrified as well.
For Iran's abhorrent treatment of such minorities and utter disregard for human rights across the world, it is my view that our government should continue to apply pressure on the Iranian regime through institutions such as the United Nations and its affiliated bodies. But given Iran's selective commitment to upholding, very selective commitment to upholding international law, as previously concluded by the Foreign Affairs Committee, we should rightly be sceptical of the extent to which our government can bring compliance through gentle nudging alone. It's going to take a whole lot more than gentle nudging, as previously concluded by the Foreign. And as the UK tries to bring positive change in Iran and support the ambitions and hopes of the protesters there. And in this regard, I welcome the move by the FCDO to sanction 10 Iranian officials connected with the regime's judicial and prison systems. But such a response is not enough. Further use of the Majinsky-style sanctions could be made. Moreover,
the honourable member, the chairman of the Select Committee, the member from Rutland Melton, illustrated very comprehensively the state-sponsored nature of this brutal misogyny and violence that protesters are suffering. He also spoke interestingly about the impact of the Iranian supply of drones, which was something I did certainly agree with. The honourable member for Hendon also raised drones and put Iran's activity in the regional context, which was very helpful, expressly with regard to the Gulf.
It will give them. I'm also deeply concerned by reports of threats made to organisations in the UK which support the rights of protesters in Iran, including the recent petrol bomb on an NCRI-affiliated base in outer London. Thankfully, due to it being in the early hours of the morning, no one was inside the building, but the situation could have been extremely grave with loss of life as a result of the bomb. The mass murders by the IRGC are shocking, but perhaps not surprising. So Iran's people have risen to defeat the religious tyranny and its repression and terrorism. They've chosen to pay the price of freedom literally with their blood. The UK and the whole international community should rise in solidarity by helping the Iranian people realise their democratic aspirations.
Contrary, no. Ayes have it. The question is as set out very clearly on the order paper. As many of that opinion say aye. Aye. Contrary, no. Ayes have it.